Imagine you have a friend who turned his house into Airbnb. At first, it was just a spare room. Extra money, fine. But then he got addicted to easy cash. He converted another room, then another. Eventually, he sleeps on the couch to rent out his own bedroom. The house is always full of strangers. He cleans, changes sheets, makes breakfast 7 days a week. You visit him and notice the house is falling apart, plumbing leaking, roof with holes, foundation cracking. You ask, why don't you fix it? He answers, I don't have time. I have to take care of guests. You insist, but the house will collapse. He smiles tired. I know, but if I stop receiving guests, I don't have money to eat. So I continue and pray it holds one more year. Welcome to the economic reality of Spain in 2025. For decades, they sold the image: sun, beach, paella, flamenco, good life, la vida española. And it's true, Spain is beautiful, climate is perfect, food is delicious. But if you stop drinking sangria on the beach and start looking beneath the surface, beneath the tourism that hides everything, you don't see good life. You see a country that turned the entire economy into a giant Airbnb. We're talking about an economy where tourism represents 13% of GDP, more than any other developed country. And here's the kicker: tourism doesn't build long-term wealth. Tourism is volatile. Pandemic, over. Recession, over. Terrorism, over. And while Spain serves beer to tourists, the house is collapsing. In this video, we're not talking about Sagrada Familia or Ibiza. We're talking about why Spain is the next European domino to fall, and why this time nobody will be able to save. Buckle up, it's going to be painful. First, the one-trick economy. When tourism is all you have, let's start with a number that should scare any economist. Tourism, 13% of Spanish GDP, 154 billion euros per year. For comparison, tourism in Germany is 4%, in France, 8%. Even in Italy, 6%. Spain bet everything on tourism, literally, and it works, for now. 85 million tourists per year visit Spain, more than the entire country's population, 47 million. They spend billions: hotels, restaurants, bars, souvenirs, vacation rentals. That money supports millions of jobs, pays taxes, keeps economy turning. But here's the problem. What happens if tourists stop coming? 2020, COVID, borders closed, tourism fell 77% overnight. You know what happened to Spanish economy collapsed. GDP fell 11% in 1 year, worst drop in all modern Spanish history. Unemployment exploded from 14% to 16%. Millions lost jobs, and they had no safety net because the entire economy depended on one thing: tourists. Now imagine you work. All your salary comes from one source. If that source dries up, you break immediately. That's zero diversification, maximum risk. That's Spain. And it gets worse because tourism isn't high-value industry. Tourist pays 100 euros per night at hotel. How much goes to the worker who cleans the room? 30 euros, maybe. How much goes to hotel owner? Little, because competition is fierce, margins are thin. How much goes to government in taxes? Also little, because much is informal economy. No receipt, no declaration. So you have economy moving money, but not creating real wealth. And meanwhile, real industry died. Spain used to make things: cars, ships, steel, textiles. Today, manufacturing is 12% of GDP, half of what it was in 1980. Factories closed, went to China, to Morocco, to cheaper places, and nobody invested in replacing because tourism was easy. Building hotel is simpler than building factory, training. Waiter is faster than training engineer, so Spain chose the easy path, and now is trapped. Hey, quick question. If all your income came from one source and that source could disappear tomorrow, would you sleep peacefully? Tell me in the comments. And subscribe, because we're going to show you how many other problems are hidden. 2. The unemployment that never left. Permanently lost generation. Now let's talk about Spain's most shameful number: unemployment. Official unemployment rate in 2025, 12%. 12%. 1 in 8 Spanish people has no job. For comparison, United States 4%, Germany 3%, even France 7%, Spain 12%. But wait, youth unemployment, people between 15 and 24, 27%, more than a quarter, almost a third. If you're young in Spain, your chances of being unemployed are 1 in 3, and that's official number. Real is worse, because many gave up looking. Don't count in statistics anymore. Why so high? Several reasons. Education disconnected from market. Spanish universities graduate thousands of sociologists, philosophers, historians. Great, but who's hiring sociologists? Nobody. Meanwhile, there's shortage of programmers, engineers, qualified technicians. But educational system doesn't adapt, keeps producing graduates. Nobody wants to hire, and there's worse, temporary contracts. In Spain, it's almost impossible to fire someone with permanent contract, extreme labor protections. So employers don't give permanent contract, they give temporary, 3 months, 6 months, renew, renew, renew. Result, 25% of all Spanish workers have temporary contract, 1 in 4, without stability, without full rights, without future. You can't buy house with temporary contract. Bank won't lend. Can't plan marriage, have children, make any long-term plans. Because in 3 months you might be unemployed, this creates entire generation living in permanent uncertainty. And you know what they do? Live with parents. In Spain, 80% of young people between 16 and 29 still live with parents. 80%. Not because they want, because they have no choice. Without stable job, without sufficient salary, without chance to rent, let alone buy, so they stay at home until 30, 40. Meanwhile, they don't have children because how do you have child living in childhood bedroom at your parents' house? Spain's birth rate 1.19, one of the lowest in the world. Spanish population is shrinking, and young people without jobs guarantee it will keep shrinking. 3. The bubble that never really burst. Real estate nobody can buy. Let's talk about 2008. Global financial crisis. Everyone suffered. But Spain collapsed. Why? Real estate bubble. In the 2000s, Spain built more houses than France, Germany, and Italy combined. Ghost cities. Literally, thousands of apartments, streets, infrastructure, and nobody living. Because they were built for speculation, not for people. When bubble burst, prices fell 40%, banks broke, construction companies went bankrupt. Unemployment exploded to 27%. 27%, a quarter of entire economically active population without work, took 10 years to exit crisis. Now 2025, bubble again. Real estate prices in main cities are higher than 2008. Madrid, Barcelona, Valencia, but salaries didn't rise. Actually, real salary fell. So houses are more expensive, salaries lower. How does anyone buy? They don't. Young Spanish people can't buy a house, not with 2 salaries, not saving for 10 years. Average. Apartment price in Barcelona, 350,000 euros. Average salary of young Spanish person, 18,000 euros per year. Do the math, you'd need 20 years of entire salary without spending 1 cent to buy apartment. Impossible. But here's the worst. Who's buying then? Foreigners, investors, rich people. Germans buying vacation apartments, Americans buying for Airbnb, Chinese buying for investment, they pay cash. Spanish people can't even compete. The result, Spanish people being expelled from their own cities. Barcelona has entire neighborhoods where nobody lives. Just Airbnbs, just tourists. Local residents went to outskirts because they can no longer afford rent. The Catalan capital became theme park, museum city, where Spanish people work during day serving tourists and go home to outskirts at night. Banks with billions in bad loans. Next crisis could break everything, no margin for bailout. Water running out, climate changing, tourism at risk. No plan B, that's the reality behind beaches and tapas. Spain is beautiful, hot, fun, but economically it's a collapsing house. And the owner keeps receiving guests because if he stops, he can't survive. But the house is cracking, roof leaking, foundation giving way, and one day it will fall. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next year, but it will fall. And when it falls, it won't fall alone, because Spain is fourth largest economy in Eurozone. If it goes, it drags others. Portugal, Italy, French banks, German investors, and you if you're American will feel it. Dollar spikes, exports fall, recession, everything connected. Spain bet everything on tourism, on climate, on water, and all three are going away, but they can't stop because they didn't build alternative. So they continue, serving sangria, cleaning rooms, smiling at tourists, while the house collapses around them. If this video changed your view of Spain, do me a favor. Hit that like button. Show people that living off tourism isn't sustainable. Strategy. And subscribe if you want to understand collapses happening now. Next video, why Portugal is even more fragile than Spain, and nobody noticed. Thanks for watching. Don't trust beautiful beaches. Look at the foundation. See you in the next one. This creates anger, resentment, anti-tourism movement, residents throwing water at tourists, protests, vandalism against Airbnbs, because they see tourism is destroying their city, and they don't benefit, only suffer. Pause for a second. Imagine you live in a city your whole life, suddenly you can't afford rent anymore, because rich foreigners bought everything. How would you feel? Tell me in the comments. Would you sell your city to tourism? 4. The regions that want out, divided country. Now, let's talk about something that could literally break Spain. Separatism, Catalonia, region in northeast, Barcelona, 16% of Spanish economy, 16% of population, they want independence. 2017, independence referendum, illegal. According to Spanish government, 90% voted for independence, but only 43% of population voted because Spanish government said it was illegal. Result, constitutional crisis. Catalan leaders imprisoned, massive protests, almost civil war. Why does Catalonia want out? Money. Catalonia is rich, productive, generates lots of GDP. But the money goes to Madrid, central government takes Catalan taxes and redistributes to rest of Spain, especially to the south, Andalusia, Extremadura, poor regions. Catalans calculate they pay 20,000 euros per capita in taxes, receive back 14,000 in services, difference of 6,000 per person per year, multiply by 7.5 million people, 45 billion euros per year. Catalans think they're subsidizing rest of Spain, and they're right. But Spain can't let Catalonia leave, because without Catalonia, Spanish economy loses 16% and public debt explodes. Current debt 1.6 trillion euros, 115% of GDP. Without Catalonia, 115% becomes 137%. Unsustainable, so Spanish government does what? Represses, police, prison, force. This doesn't solve, only increases anger, and it's not just Catalonia, Basque. Country also wants more autonomy, Galicia, Canary Islands. Spain isn't united country. It's collection of regions that barely tolerate each other. And when economy goes bad, these divisions explode. 5. The banks that are still weak, 2008 crisis that never ended. Let's talk about something nobody wants to admit. Spanish banks never recovered from 2008. During real estate bubble, Spanish banks lent trillions for construction, apartments, houses, commercial. When bubble burst, construction companies broke, loans became non-performing. Banks were left with empty buildings, not money buildings. Government had to bail out 60 billion euros in taxpayer money, but didn't solve problem, just postponed. Today, Spanish banks still have billions in bad assets on balance sheet, officially 30 billion in NPLs, non-performing loans. Real, probably double. Because banks do accounting tricks, classify bad loan as restructured, roll debt, extend deadline, but bad loan doesn't become good, just accumulates. And here's the danger: if Spanish economy slows again, Unemployment rises, non-performance explodes. Banks will need another bailout, but this time Spanish government doesn't have money. Debt already at 115%. Deficit running. No margin. So who bails out? European Union. Again. But European Union is already tired, already rescued Greece. Spain, Portugal, Ireland. If Spain breaks again, Europe might not save. And if Spain falls without bailout, European banks all take the hit. Because French, German, Italian banks all have exposure to Spain, domino effect, again. 6. The future that doesn't exist when there's no plan B. Here's the question nobody in Spain wants to answer. What if tourism ends? Not from pandemic, but from climate change. Spain is getting hot. Very hot. Summers in Seville hit 45 degrees Celsius, 113 Fahrenheit. Will tourists want to vacation in place where you can't go outside in afternoon?